All right. Good afternoon, class. So we are going to have a short video on um, the day after Good Friday here, and it's going to be titled "The Guarded Tomb." But there's only 3 verses we got to read over, so I won't make it super short. I mean, I'll try and fill in the blanks here with some talking. But we had a good evening last night with watching the Passion of the Christ, and powerful evening of seeing a glimpse of what Jesus went through to save us from our sins, and what the cost of sin was. But now, in our Holy Week storyline here, we are after his burial and the tomb being guarded by the Pharisees ordered it to be guarded, I should say, for good reason. They didn't want anybody to steal the body and further this belief that who he was or who he is, or who they wanted this to just go away, and they wanted to make sure that nobody would make it last any longer than what it needed to. So we are going to be, let's go ahead and read on our page 61. We'll go ahead and read our insert of the book here. It'll be the top right hand corner of page 61. It's Saturday, April 8th, AD 30. And I want to bring up something because my sister actually asked, she was confused on the dates and stuff. The reason it says April 8th, AD 30 is because this all happened in the first week of April at that time. So don't get confused on that's just, they're dating it. We are in our time now, taking a step back into the time that was then, and going in order from their dates. So it's Saturday, April 8th, AD 30, the guarded tomb. Fear and grief marked the day after the crucifixion of Jesus. The disciples who scattered after his arrest hid. Meanwhile, the chief priests and the Pharisees feared the words of Jesus. After 3 days I will rise again, and requested guards be posted to secure the tomb. That's going to be found in Matthew 27, verse 63, which we're going to be in that exact chapter and verse, but we're going to take it from 63 to 66. Yeah, Matthew 27, 63 through 66. To see how the Pharisees had the tomb guarded for fear of Jesus' body being stolen and made to look as if he truly resurrected. So, let's just go ahead and read it. Again, Matthew 27, 63 through 66. Let's back up, actually. I know we're going to start in 63, but I'd like to back up to verse 62 since we got time. Just go back one verse to 62. Now on the next day, the day after the preparation, the chief priests and the Pharisees gathered together with Pilate and said, "Sir, we remember that when he was still alive, that deceiver said, 'After 3 days I am to rise again.' Therefore give orders for the grave to be made secure until the 3rd day. Otherwise, his disciples may come and steal him away and say to the people, 'He has risen from the dead,' and the last deception will be worse than the first." Pilate said to them, "You have a guard. Go, make it as secure as you know how." And they went and made the grave secure, and along with the guard, they set a seal on the stone. So they wanted to make absolutely sure that nobody could carry the story on, which adds to the validity of him resurrecting, and there's theories out there. We'll learn that about in our actual lesson for the week, but there's actual theories out there of the body being stolen or whatever. But we're talking a Roman guard, one of the most powerful dynasties or empires, I guess you'd call it empires, in in the history of the world, guarding that tomb. So first off, if the guard was insufficient or whatever, I mean, that would be a black eye in them. They'd be risking insurrections or rebellions or uproars or all these different things. So first off, the guard was that it was a highly trained, and it wasn't just these Joe Schmoes that they found on the street and threw up on a guard. No, it was a Roman guard. They sealed the stone. So not only did they roll a giant stone in front of this tomb, but they put a seal on it. And it was a 24/7 guard. I mean, there was never, a time that somebody wasn't there. So they went through all that trouble to paint him out to be what they wanted him to be, which is just a deceiver. But all they really did was set up the stage for all of them to look completely just dumb. I mean, sometimes you just gotta call it like it is. But real quick, we'll learn a little more about it tomorrow. But since we got some time, if you go over to verses, stay in chapter 28 of Matthew, but verses 12, and we'll just go to 13. So this was after he had actually risen, and the only reason I'm doing this today is because we're talking about how they were wanting to take away from the validity of this. So even after, so they'd done all those things to secure the tomb. Now, after it was emptied, and they're like, well, what are we going to do now? This is what they said in verse 12. And when they had assembled with the elders and consulted together, they gave a large sum of money to the soldiers. So they were paying these soldiers off, and said, you are to say, his disciples came by night and stole him away while you were asleep. So these were the soldiers that were guarding the tomb. And if this should come to the governor's ear, we will win him over and keep you out of trouble. So, fearful now that they've done all they could to stop this from happening, and it still happened. The only result they had left was to pay off the guards that were watching over the tomb, to pay them off and say that they fell asleep and that their followers came and stole him in the middle of the night. And that just goes to show the ignorance of man, and especially then, we're on this side of the cross, so we have the full story, but even being there in person, the ignorance of man too. Sometimes, and it's still true today, sometimes we can literally show them or show people hard proof of everything, and they still find some weird way to wiggle around what the truth is. So, that's really about it for today. I mean, it's a very, it's kind of like what they call the calm before the storm, but in this case is more of the storm's already happened. Now it's a little pause before the sun comes out. Yesterday was a hard day of realization of what had to take place and what had to happen. As Jesus was brutally beaten and then crucified. Now we're kind of in this lull period between then and the resurrection, where some people like to say, well, he went to hell and defeated sin and death and everything. The Bible talks nothing of that. And there's some things that I've been studying on that I won't give 100% validity to yet, but during the time between his death and his resurrection, it's very, very possible from what I've been researching that that he went to what they were calling paradise, which was I believe to be a place that those who were to join him in heaven were kind of waiting for this moment. So he was going and gathering them. And it's a whole nother multiple videos of research and everything else that I can go through. But essentially that's if you hear the story of he went to hell to defeat sin in the grave and Satan and get the keys to hell and everything else, there's nothing, and you will not find anything in the Bible that says that. You won't find anything that makes sense in the Bible that says anything close to that, other than a man-made explanation. Nothing biblical about that explanation at all. So, anyways, I'm just rambling on at this point. So the plan is I'm going to post this one for today. I'm probably going to go ahead and, because tomorrow we got a bunch of stuff going on. We got, the sunrise service, we got breakfast, and we got another service, and then of course we got, family Easter activities. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to end this one. I have one to do for Resurrection Day, which I'm not going to call, this is day 7 here. So I'm just going to call that one Resurrection Day instead of day 8 out of a week. So, and then I got to make one for session 5 of our book. So you'll get 2 videos tomorrow, but I'm probably going to go ahead and make them today, back to back right now. That way they're done. I could send this one today. I could send Resurrection Day in the first thing in the morning, and then I'll send session 5 after church. So anywhere between like 9 or 10 and noon, somewhere in there. So that's what to expect to finish this up for the week. Is we'll have this video, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and that should finish up this week. And then we're going to be back to normal, back on track where we're having our Sunday school. However, like I said before, I'm most likely going to continue this. The weeks that Jonathan teaches and gives his lesson, I may take that and just do a quick recap video on it and post it for those who are kind of our extended family as far as Sunday school goes. So this isn't the end of what we're doing. But that's what to expect between now and tomorrow. But I'm going to go ahead and stop this video now and jump right into Resurrection Day. So be on the lookout for it.